your name and start.
Thank you, Chairperson and Judges. My name is Tomoki Tanaka. I have some questions. Okay, about your first attack point.
Yes.
We can't make new mission in Ukraine because Russia didn't agree, right?
Yeah.
Okay, about Somalia, there is already new missions, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
30,000 troops already sent, so your plan will not stand.
Okay, thank you. Your second attack point. So 50 countries already prepared 40,000 new peacekeepers, right?
Yeah.
Okay, about your third attack point. So this 40,000 is better than Japanese self-defense force, right?
Yeah, it includes the military that have more strength in the self-defense forces.
Please show me evidence later.
Okay.
Okay, about thank you. About your fourth attack point. So, if we send 3,000 peacekeepers to the area, which have enough peacekeepers, we can save no more civilians.
Yeah, no
right?
more.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. About your first attack point to AD2. So, because of financial difficulty, we can't make infrastructure.
We cannot expand the plan because it's just lacking even in the present situation.
Okay, thank you. About your second attack point. So, infrastructure will be destroyed because of conflict, right?
Yeah, actually, in your present situation, you said like in conflict, the infrastructure is destroyed, so we cannot understand what will happen after the plan.
Okay.
It will be
Do you
destroyed.
have any evidence that during peacekeeping operation, infrastructure was destroyed?
Actually, it's not during, but even if you make it like.
It's not during peacekeeping operation, right?
I don't clear because it's
Thank
just
you.
in your
Your
present
third attack
situation.
point. In dangerous area, we can't make self-defense force don't have ability to make building to build infrastructure, right?
Actually, you didn't prove that in danger. You're talking about sending troops to the dangerous areas, but you never proved that in the dangerous areas, infrastructure will be constructed by the self-defense forces. So I want you to prove that point.
Okay, thank you. About last attack point. So this attack point is unclear, right?
Yeah, because for example, like your new mission does not exist, and also you didn't give any critical number that how many will be saved, but just constructing roads in vague areas. We don't know where it is.
Okay, thank you. That's all.
Thank you.
Question time has ended. Please say your name and start.
Okay, thank you, Chairperson. My name is Hirokazu. I have an attack on you. First about the DA1 strategy SDF life. But first of all, low possibility about SDF states. They said SDF members will lose their lives, but the possibility is very low because of following reasons. A, according to Walter Down's calculation, the consultant of UN Department of PKO, the mortality rate of the peacekeepers through the PKO is decreasing every year, and the present rate is 0.08% according to our calculation from UN peacekeeping. So the possibility is already low, and it will continue to decrease. And B, according to UN, about 70% of deaths is caused by accident and illness, but SDF has medical relief team, which has high technology and skills of medical treatment. Moreover, because no SDF member has lost their lives through these reasons in the past PKO, we can say SDF has enough cure system. So calculating from these 2 points, mortality rate of SDF member will be only 0.024%, which is only one death per every 2 years. So their point doesn't stand. Second, less importance. According to research by Change Our World, 64% SDF answered they are willing to save civilians abroad at the risk of their life. In addition to that, according to Gentai Business, selection PK member from Japan is adopting a volunteer system, and the member who finally goes have to pass the test. This means two things. A, they have enough ability to save people. In fact, according to Mr. Tamagami, the troops that adopt volunteer system is stronger than one that adopt the conscription system. So the possibility of this in war will be much lower. And B, they have clear will that they want to save civilians, and moreover, they have consented to the risk of death or mental disease. So even if the point completely stands, there will be less importance because FDS is strong enough, and moreover, they have strong will to save civilians, even though they have risk of death confirming the number of lives that they can save. So their point is not so important. So their point, okay, let me launch attack to the second argument, miss shot. First, not important. They said we shouldn't take this plan because someone will be killed by mistaken shot. But as our first speaker told you, if we send 3,000 troops, we can save 1,000 civilians, and this graph comes from past example. And of course, this is concluding the death of miss shot. That means even if some troops cause misshot, still we can save many civilians' lives. So their point cannot be the reason to oppose this plan. Second, not true. They said about misshot, but it is not true. Actually, SDF attacked only who attacked to PKO, and soldiers acted in a legitimate defense according to someone. So their point doesn't stand. And third, irrelevant. They are saying that because someone PKO kills citizens mistakenly to send troops is bad, but this point is opposing PKO activity in itself, and according to the definition of this debate, we cannot deny PKO activity in itself, so their point is too irrelevant to take. So their point is and fourth, about Congo's evidence, no applicability. They are using evidence of Congo, but this evidence is talking about Congo armies, not peacekeeper. And this evidence says Congo armies is very terrible because they made any effort to distinguish civilian terrorists. So this is too extreme to apply on their point.
Thank you, Chairperson. My name is Eddie. I'd like to ask you some questions. In total, how many attack points do you have?
2 for your AD, 4 to your DA1 and 4 for your DA2.
Okay, thank you. On your first attack point, you talked about the 0.08%.
Yes.
Is it the decreasing number or the after the plan's death rate of the JSDF?
The present situation, this number is decreasing and the present rate is 0.08%.
Present rate is 0.08%.
Yes.
And you talked about 0.024%, right?
Yeah.
Is it if we if we don't include the accident or illness, the death rate will be 0.024%, right?
Yes.
Okay. On your second attack point, you talked about the JSDF odometer risk, right?
Yes.
And is it the after the plan agreements to the after the plan or agreements on present situation?
In the present situation, they are saying that 64% of SDF saying that.
Present situation, right?
Yes.
Okay. On your first attack point, you said the Eddie will overcome the mistaken attack, right?
Yes.
However, do you think that lives is a pressure, right? But mistaken attacks is okay?
No, but by taking this plan, even if some mistake will occur, we can save many more civilians' lives.
Okay. Sorry, I'd like to back to our dear one. And you talked about the JSDF is strong enough, right?
Yes.
Why can you say so?
Because as I told you that Mr. Tamagami said, the troops that adopt volunteer system is stronger than one that adopt conscription system.
Okay. Sorry, time is over. Thank you.
Question time has ended. We will now have a 2-minute preparation time.
アタックは両チームとも相手の論点をいくつものレベルでズタズタにするほど素晴らしい反論ができていました。どちらもこうつけにくいですが、特に否定側アタックは終わった後に会場からため息が漏れるほどでした。先ほどアドバンテージについて肯定側がウクライナやソマリアについて具体例を挙げているということを褒めましたが、なんと否定側はそれをピンポイントで反論して、しかも相手の証拠もうまく使いながら反論できていました。否定側は肯定側の説明するアドバンテージの因果関係が決して比例的な関係ではなく、どこのミッションでもすでに派遣された部隊が8,000人くらいはいるので、これ以上増やしてもほとんど効果が期待できないと議論していました。これは前半の高島対創価高校の試合の解説部分でレクチャーした3つの因果関係の用語で言うと、効果が低減する場合にあたります。こうした因果モデルを当てはめて、日本の固有の貢献がさほど期待はできないんだということを説得力のある形で反論に生かしていた。これは大したものです。私はこの試合の審査員でもあったのですが、アタックの後の質疑応答についても真剣勝負そのものという対決があり、試合中一瞬も気が抜けなかったということを記憶しております。では試合の終盤をご覧ください。
Please say your name and start.
Thank you, Chairperson and Judges. My name is Tomoyuki Tanaka, Defense Argument. The first point. They say Ukraine we can't make new mission because Russia didn't agree. But after their evidence, President of Russia indicates the will of accepting new mission in Ukraine. So this is no problem. And also, Ukraine is only one example. The place which has severe shortage of peacekeepers. Their second attack point, they say 40,000 new peacekeepers will be needed. But according to CIC, in only Africa, at least 45,000 peacekeepers will be needed in 2070. And also same evidence say in Africa, in the worst case, over 100,000 peacekeepers will be needed in 2070. This means there are so many places which need peacekeepers in the future. So in this place, we can save 3,000 service forces and we can save 1,000 civilian lives every year. So we should take this plan. Their third attack point, they say this 40,000 is better than Japan. But firstly, according to CIGS, there are no problem about self-defense force in terms of their ability and their weapon to execute missions. So actually, if we send 3,000 self-defense force, we can save so many civilians. Their fourth attack point. So like we explained, they talk about the assumption there is already 8,000 peacekeepers. Like we explained, there in the worst case over 100,000 peacekeepers will be needed in 2017. At that kind of situation, there are so many places which there are no peacekeepers. About plan, we will send 3,000 peacekeepers to this area and we can save 1,000 civilian lives every year. So we should take this plan. The first attack point to AD2, no, because of financial difficulty, we can't build infrastructures. But firstly, each country shoulder the cost for peacekeeping operation, and after ending the PKO, United Nations will pay back the cost for operation. So even if now United Nations don't have a budget, self-defense force can build infrastructure. And also, present situation, most of PKO face financial difficulties, but all missions could achieve their purpose because each country shoulders the cost for missions, so no problem. The second attack point, building infrastructure will be destroyed because of conflict, but they talk about a situation, there is no PKO, there is no case infrastructure was destroyed during peacekeeping operation because according to United Nations, peacekeeping mission include protection of infrastructures. So after taking this plan, Japanese self-defense force both build infrastructure and both protect infrastructure. So infrastructure will not be destroyed. And they say in dangerous area we can't make building infrastructure, but in conflict area, status quo, or even China can build infrastructure in conflict area. Like we explained, status quo, Japanese self-defense force have the best ability to build infrastructure. So after taking this plan, they can do it. Okay, this is unclear, so I will explain our argument. So road is most essential infrastructure of all because one road can send all of relief supplies and all of material for construction. If we don't make road in South Sudan, 250,000 children will die of shortage of relief supplies according to UNICEF. So we should take this plan.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chairperson. My name is Eddie. I'd like to make a defense speech. Our disadvantage is more victims in self-defense forces. First, they said that our evidence is unreliable because the death rate is decreasing in recent years, 0.08%. However, the 0.3% is an accurate estimation of the risk. The death rate is not a steady decline. For example, in 1993, the death rate was 0.4%. That's because the dangerous Somalia mission started. In 1994, the death rate fell to 0.2%, but in 1995, there was another mission in Bosnia and it returned to 0.4%. We cannot predict the future. We must also consider worst-case scenarios. That's why we said 0.3%, which is the average of all missions in PKO history, both the safest and the most dangerous. They talked about that Japan have the inaccurate system. However, it is not true because according to the Toyo Keizai Online in 2015, there is no first aid kit treatment, so JSDA cannot cure the illness. And second, they said that JSDA admit the risk, but it's not true because the situation will change after their plan. SDA member might recognize the risk of today's operation, as they said, but after their plan, they have to go to even conflict area. The risk will also change. SDA personnel cannot accept such a higher risk of operation, so by their plan, our disadvantage will seriously happen. And they said that JSDF is the strongest enough, but it's not true. If we focus on the military power, a ground force military power, it is low. According to the Global Firepower in 2014, Japanese ground equipment ranked around 30th position. It is lower than even developing countries such as Bangladesh and Pakistan, so our disadvantage will seriously happen. Next, I'd like to tell you our importance. we should not take the plan because after the plan, every year 10 will die and 1,200 JSDI will be injured and it affects family members forever, such as mental, economical, and physical burden. They didn't at that point 1,200 injured, so this point will be remain. And next, our disadvantage, the mistaken attacks. First, they said the AD will overcome their advantage. AD will overcome a disadvantage. However, it is not true. I'd like to explain. After the plan, JSDA attacked local people mistakenly. Today in Africa, there were many PKO missions and 8,000 Japanese live in Africa. So by their plan, 8,000 Japanese will be killed or live with fear of the revenge. This is our disadvantage, so it will seriously happen. And second, they attacked our process of the mistaken attack. However, the mistaken attack surely happened. In a complicated situation, JSDA cannot distinguish who civilians are. That's why the other countries have a more experience about the mistaken attack. And next, they attacked our Congo's cases. We have another example of the revenge attack. According to IPS in 2007, in a Haiti peacekeeper killed over 30 civilians mistakenly. Then local people have the revenge feeling. Finally, the violence in the public broke out in Haiti. So revenge will surely happen.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chairperson. My name is Takua Baba. I would like to summarize this debate. I have two things to talk about for this debate. Firstly, about the practical consequence looking at 81, 82, and the DA1. And after all, I would like to talk about Japan's responsibility. But before that, let me explain their DA2, right? They're saying, firstly, the defense speaker started explaining about the revenge against Japanese, but this was not provided in the constructive speech. So this is completely new arguments. So no one should use this point. And at the point of constructive speech, they just explained 600 or so local citizens will be killed, even in the worst case. And this was the biggest number that they provided us. What this means, as we told you in our 81, we can save about 1,000 civilians' life, and this graph was calculated by an average, right, including these kind of misshots. What this means, we can save more, so their DA2 never stands. Then let's look at the practical consequence. DA1, they talked about self-defense force will be damaged, right? But in the first place, what we have to see is the current rate, right? Because as we told you, the mortality rate is decreasing every year. They were talking about some kind of dangerous missions, but this kind of death rate is actually decreasing constantly. What this means, the technological development or other kinds of things will making these kind of mortality rates much lower. What this means is that what we can rely is only the most latest data. And if we use those kind of things, we can say only one death every 2 years in the DA1, right? So we can say their DA1 is extremely weak. Then our 81. As we told you, in Ukraine about 20,000 civilians are dying every year, but no peacekeepers are there. And we have clearly explained to you that how these kind of self-defense forces will have enough capacity to save about 1,000 civilians' lives every year if we take this proposal, because there's severe shortage of those kind of troops. For example, like 45,000 lack only in Africa, and it will be lacking in 2017. So we can see the possibility is extremely high. Then about 82, we talked about maintenance of infrastructure. As we have told you, even in Ukraine, 200,000 civilians are suffering because of lack of infrastructure, like road or so on. But Japan is now refusing those kind of requests to maintenance infrastructure, ladies and gentlemen. Also in 81, Japan is refusing these kind of requests. What we can see is that these kind of restrictions are going to kill many civilians that the United Nations are saying that you should help. Ladies and gentlemen, we think this is really problematic. And overall, to just look at the practical consequence, only one death every 2 years, and we can save more civilians compared with that. That's the reason why, in the practical consequence, we win. And secondly, the responsibility for Japan. Well, no one, moreover, self-defense force death will never be a reason to deny this motion. It is really easy because, as we told you, it is adopting a volunteer system. So at that point, self-defense force are going to go to PKO because they want to save civilians. At that point, what's the government's responsibility is to allow self-defense force to go to those kind of areas based on their will to protect those kind of civilians, right? At this point, to maximize self-defense force, what the government has to do is not to protect them, but allow them to protect more civilians. Then, ladies and gentlemen, lastly, the responsibility. No one can choose where to live, and those kind of children who accidentally got birth in those kind of conflict area are going to be killed just because they were born out there. They have to live in the situation that there are no clothes, no water, no food, right? And they're going to be killed at last because of the unjust bullet. We think this situation is really unjustful, and because that's the reason why, as a peaceful nation, Japan, we have to take this plan. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chairperson and Judge. My name is Yuna. And first, every country has its own style of contribution. For Japan, the military style of PKO is not suitable because it makes many more victims, which is more clear and bigger impact. Of course, so also this plan is not necessary. Next, for the 81, save world lives. And first, for the necessity, they said the number of people is necessary. So, considering future 50 countries like China, India, which has stronger weapon than 30s Japan, will send 40,000 peacekeepers to. So there is no necessity of Japan. And first, for the probability, they said Japan can save people in unknown mission because their defense was broken. And also, they gave us Ukraine case, but those case was we checked the evidence, but the Putin is not accepted action. So there is no meaning. And also, if there are already 8,000 troops, and they said we need 100,000 troops in the future, but it is a case when the situation gets worse, and if there are already 8,000 troops, normal decrease of that will happen. Also, 40,000 will be sent, so 3,000 Japanese is just surplus. They cannot save people, and for their value, finally, their impact becomes unclear, so their value is almost zero, so their D81 is under our DA1. Our DA1 will overcome than theirs. And their D82 is infrastructure. First, for their probability, they said Japan can make roads, but they support us. Even China, other country can make roads. So there is no necessity of Japan. And also, budget is in red. And they said that now there is no problem, but expand is impossible. So probability is really weak. Next, for their value, they didn't prove how many people Japan can save in dangerous area, and also they only focused on South Sudan, but their definition was not South Sudan, so their value is no unique, so their 82 is weak. And next, check our DAs. For our probability, as we proved, 30th Japanese military is poor, so every year, and also as we said, average is important, so every year 10 SDF will die and 1,300 will be armed injured. So our persistence, and for our value, at least 1,300 armed injured damage is remain because they will lose arms and legs due to poor equipment. They will become disabled. So that's really serious for not only those people but also family. So our impact will overcome their 80s unclear impact. Next, our DA2 is mistaken attack. First, for our probability, how at least the risk JSDF may connect mistaken attack is remain because we show the evidence. And also, Japan doesn't have real battlefield experience to judge citizens, so they will connect revenge. It's not late argument, my construct speaker said. And for our value, our impact serious because the attack target will be at Japanese people, and 8,000 Japanese residents in Africa surely fear their lives because of revenge. This is more serious than theirs. Thank you.
Thank you. The debate is over now.